Starting off retrospect this week in 1994, an area producer takes a gamble growing a new crop.
We're learning as we go, and if we do it again, we'd probably do it better.
This is the first year Orst Boyko planted canola. He says he just decided he wanted to try something a little different.
The reason we decided to do something different was the old traditional crops, oats and barley, just don't seem to be giving us the kind of return we need anymore. And I've always been of the type to try something new, and I thought I'd go with canola.
Canola is a dwarf hybrid of the more common sunflower plant. It's used primarily for oil, but it can be marketed for birdseed or feed meal.
It's got a longer growing season than canola, but it's a lot shorter than the traditional sunflowers that were grown. So where the traditional sunflowers is 120 to 130 days, the canola will be probably in that 100-day range, so more like our wheat crops.
And as the name implies, there are similarities between canola and canola, more than just the color.
As with most of our crops, there's going to be some disease problem. And with canola, what it really gets it is sclerotinia, or stem rot as it's known. Many of the producers have seen this within their canola fields, and unfortunately, the canola is very susceptible to sclerotinia.
There are some things Boyko would do differently next time. This year he seeded 7.5 pounds per acre at 3 inches. He says next time he'd go heavier on the seed and about half the depth. He plans on harvesting somewhere near the middle of October, and so far he doesn't foresee any problems, although he says his neighbors might be of another opinion.
When you get a bag of seed and it comes from California, you kind of wonder if you're not a little bit funny when you put it in, but it's done reasonably well under the circumstances, and I don't feel sorry I done it.
And in 1998, a lightning strike sparks a fire near Lloydminster.
This was the scene early this morning. Flames engulfed the Devonian Lake Husky Battery in Lloydminster. Fire crews were called out shortly before 8 a.m., but believe the blaze started just before 7:30. Husky Oil says the fire was discovered by one of their employees shortly after a lightning strike.
At about 7:25 this morning, our worker was coming to work, and as you know, there was a thunderstorm in the area today, and actually just as he was coming in the battery yard, lightning struck our tanks in our facility here, and 2 of our tanks exploded and caught on fire.
The lightning woke some residents in the area and alerted them to the blaze.
Well, first thing I did was hear a thud in the house, and I didn't know what had happened, and then we looked out the window, and there was a big cloud of black smoke coming across our yard, and so I figured that, and then I knew what it was. I knew it was a fire because it's happened before.
Flames could be seen from as far as 4.5 miles away. Fortunately, no one had to be evacuated from the area, but fire officials say they weren't sure what they were dealing with when they arrived at the scene.
Until you actually get to assess, if the tank's already opened up, like the top is already off this one, so it's burning. It's not that serious, but we don't know what's behind, what we can't see. That's what the real concern is.
It took fire crews close to 2 hours to battle the blaze. Firefighters responded from Kitscotty, Blackfoot, County of Vermilion River, and Britannia-Wilton. Husky also had a fire crew at the scene. Foam and water finally smothered the flames shortly after 9 a.m. Husky will now monitor the area and assess the damage. Total cost of the damage is not yet known.
And this has been our week in retrospect.
Retrospect this week is brought to you by Webb's Ford. Worth your while to drive the extra mile. Webb's Ford in Vermilion.